It's all down to Tamsy and Zonka. How will they make it out of it? Gachiakuta, episode 12. We start this episode off inside of Delmon's induced state. This is where we get to see him growing flowers along with this mysterious loved one. After that start, we come back to the reality of the situation. Amo has amassed quite a bit of the cleaners, and now it's all up to Tamsy and Zonka. While the two are surrounded, we hear Amo say, "Are you still gonna try to bring the party down?" Both of them are like, huh? And then suddenly Tamsy takes front and center where he says, "I'll ask you all to endure this," as he takes the item to his side and raises it up. Now, whenever he has his item raised, all at once we zoom into his eyes. Vital instrument, Tokshin. And we get to see this beautiful vital instrument reveal. It's a nice blue, and whatever is being made here is some sort of staff. After Tamsy fully reveals his vital instrument, Delmont starts to get very angry, and we get to see what he is seeing that is actually making him angry, similar to what happened to Rudo. We could assume that they all had a unison reaction because all of them launched themselves at the two. The pace at which they're coming at is very slow motion, and we hear Tamsy say, "Nut." Tamsy's vital instrument, Tokshin, unravels. It's almost like bits of rope or fibers. You see, whenever Tamsy unraveled these ropes, it captured all the cleaners going after the pair. Amo tries to command these brainwashed cleaners to get unstuck, but as they would try, the ropes would get tighter. Which Tamsy lets us know this is a feature of Tokshin. But because they're brainwashed, they kept going at it anyway. Of course, Amo lets Tamsy know that in order to help her, they'll find some way to escape no matter how much pain it puts them through. She does make sure to throw in that it's going to get bloody, but her reaction changes once she hears what Tamsy has to say. "My vital instrument is a distaff." It continues on, he says, "Do you know, it's a staff used for winding thread." After dropping those lines, we see Tamsy spin the spindle the other way. So everyone that is captured in this thread starts to wind up till winding is complete. And I searched this up, I didn't know this. A bundle of yarn on a spindle is actually called a cob. So pretty cool. After that wind completes, yeah, Tamsy kind of look it over, and it was surprising to see Amo also got captured in this as well. After we come back from the opening, Amo is still hanging upside down, which, now that I look at it, is a little freaky. Tamsy demands to turn them back to normal. Unexpectedly, we get to see Gris running over to Tommy to check in on her, and he's relieved to see she's wearing a mask. Gris also asks her how Engine is doing, and we find out that he's still not doing good and not responding. She's tried putting a mask on him as well. Still, nothing. They're gonna have to go to the medical team. The two of them talking about Engine catches Tamsy's attention. Suddenly, we hear Amo to start crying, and she goes on to say no one's been this rough with Amo in ages. Even to go as far as calling him a meanie multiple times, and then we hear her screaming, "Help, Amo!" Just like a transceiver, the brainwashed cleaners react. And just like zombies, at all costs, they're trying to break free, even bleeding like you see with Rudo. Tamsy just sits there and stares blankly. You hear Amo crying, and of course, all these brainwashed cleaners that are just yelling full of death rage as they try to escape. All of a sudden, we cut to a black screen. Tamsy takes a breath, and we hear, "Enough." The picture comes back, and we're zoomed in closer to Tamsy's eye, where he questions something to him. "You like her that much, do you?" "Wait, what?" The next thing he says, "Then I'll release you." Tamsy takes a staff, and he jams the end of it into the ground, even cracking it. Like a tornado, this thread starts to unravel. With the amount of power that this thing has picked up, it's almost like a spinning top that is digging down into the tower. But the top isn't the only thing going down. Amo's room gets completely caved in, and they also all fall. One of the lucky people is Zonka. Using his assist staff, he was able to grab a ledge. As Zonka's there on the ledge, he gets to see the results of Tamsy's destruction, which I do think he also went too far. Everyone is in a very bad state. And here's quite the surprise. Tamsy falls into this room right in the middle, and underneath that mask, we can tell by his eyes that he's probably smiling. Tamsy goes on to say that he handled it. Suddenly, Zonka drops in right behind him and says, "Handled? You killed your own." Mo starts screaming, interrupting Zonka, and as we get to see her, she says, "This is what happens when people don't just talk to Mo." Something about the position that Mo is in, it kind of makes me angry myself, but she goes on to say, "Your true nature shows itself, even when you try to hide it." They're all on death's door because you're so awful. She continues on as Rudo tries to unimpale himself. Zero harmony with all your friends at all, and she laughs. Suddenly, we see Tamsy turn over to look at Zonka with a very dark look. And it just goes from dark to really cute. We see Tamsy say, "Huh? Zonka, did you forget the thing?" Of course, even us, we should have realized this. They're allowed to reduce damage from one hit, even a fatal one. And we get an example. We get to see Rudo's very lethal wound, and it gets repaired instantly. Oh man, while Zonka's being reminded of what Remlin drew on them, suddenly we hear Engine, who is also okay, and he's right behind Mo. And of course, he took her boots away from her. And with a sudden cut, we're outside of the cleaner's HQ. We're then took inside to see Simu reading through a book, and as she's going through it, we see her on a page that is about Rudo, where she takes some sort of interest towards it. Suddenly, cutting her off while she's looking down at this book is a lollipop, and we hear the voice of Corvus. He says, "I hope they got the info about the border." So Simu says that she believes that they can do it with the people that they have on the team, but Corvus senses some sort of unhappiness in Simu. Suddenly, he calls it out and questions something. Is it because of what you saw in Rudo? Just like us, Simu is so surprised. Then Corvus goes on, "Why don't you tell me? What did you see when you first laid eyes on Rudo?" Now we're all the way back to the tower, and Engine's going on about how he doesn't like people that don't wear socks. And, yeah, this is really sus moments. Are you not wearing socks at all? As Amo looks back at Engine, she goes at him, very angry, wanting her boot back. As Amo continues to struggle and his Engine tries to push her back, she says something that is really interesting. "Don't touch that boot, it'll lose that person's smell." And Engine's like, "That person?" And I can't believe it, this may be a peak moment. Engine takes off his mask a little bit to smell it. Of course he's gonna sneak, bro. While Amo and Engine are arguing, we get to hear Gris and Tommy talking. And this is where we get to hear that Engine was waiting the whole time to come out and he was just playing possum. Now we go back to Engine and he's trying to make a deal with Amo. "Cancel your ability and return everyone to normal and I will return your boot." Amo's face and tone start to change to a sad one. This is where she says Amo can't use her power with just one, revealing so everyone won't protect Amo now. Delmon removes the debris off of him. It's almost like he's woken up. He then says, "What in the world have I been doing?" Both Zonka and Tamsy walk up to Delmon. This is where Tamsy tells Delmon that everything he was seeing was an illusion made by Amo using her power. And it's really sad seeing the reaction of Delmon thinking one of his loved ones was back. Then she hasn't come back to life after all. We go on to hear Zonka's observation of Amo's powers, and it is really nasty. The deeper it is, the more it hurts whenever that crash down goes. Finally, everyone's back up and they're all back to normal, and of course, they got their mask on. Engine also goes on to give Amo her boot, like he promised. After her receiving the boots, Zonka asks Engine what's next. Even if we give up on getting info and leave, she's way too dangerous. We can't leave her out here. Engine says, but outside of her instrument, she's just an ordinary powerless girl. And he'd feel weird about taking the instrument that means so much to her. Let's just try to convince her not to hurt anyone. And Amo just cuts him off. "Oh, brother, Amo feels sick. Amo's whole house got ruined." Yet again, "Oh, brother, doesn't anybody here feel guilty?" Trying to make him feel bad. And this triggers Zonka so much. He yells, "The hell is wrong with you?" At the same time that Zonka goes over to yell at her, we see Rudo take off his mask. And Rudo just lets this thing fall on the ground. He then walks past Zonka, and Zonka's like, "Rudo?" As Rudo's walking forward, we start to hear Simu talking. There she says, "I've seen a lot of people in my time." And we continue on where she was talking with Corvus, "But what I saw in Rudo, I've never seen before." As she's sweating, she says, "It's not just his gloves." And as she's about to reveal what's unusual about him is... But wait, we don't get a reveal. It's just Rudo walking towards Amo. This literally comes out of nowhere. So, she's teasing Rudo, and suddenly as he's got close, we see a cockback. Wham! Right in the face. There's even blood flying. Everyone there is just like, "What the heck? Rudo, did you really do that?" And Amo just like looks up, her face is puffed up from that big punch, bloody nose. And before you know it, Rudo is above her, and he's getting ready to do it again. We hear Amo say, "What in the world?" And Rudo's on top of her, punching her over and over again, slowly making Amo more bloodier and broken. Simu continues on. "There's something growing inside of Rudo." Quite confused what she's saying here. Put simply, it's like, yes. As we see Rudo being held back to stop, Simu continues on, it's like something that could destroy the world. And the big reveal is on the episode's title card, something like a curse. All at once, we get to see whatever's inside of Rudo. It looks like an egg and it glows red. Gris and Engine finally let go of Rudo and tell him that's enough. Gris continues on, we know how to cancel out her ability. There's no need to go that far. We get to see Amo in a broken condition, crying, and Gris continues on, besides, she's a girl. But Rudo doesn't care. Whatever's going on with Rudo, there's a lot of red inside of him. Because she's a woman, I'm not allowed to fight back. And these bubbles start to form into like an angry Rudo's face. The art on this is just insane. Rudo continues on, because she's a woman, I'm supposed to shut up and let her kill people I care about? Whatever this was, it was just so demonic. All at once, it's like Rudo snaps back. I can't do that. Chris tells him, that's not what I mean. You're beating up on someone who's powerless. Rudo's like, what you mean powerless? She's a giver. Rudo reminds Gris, she tricked us and almost got us all killed. However, she looks on the outside. Inside, she was laughing at us, stomping down on us, even stating that she deserves to get beat up. Everyone there is just like, what the heck? All at once, Engine's like, I see, so that's your thought process. And he lays the biggest question of all on Rudo, so, how do we get the info now? Rudo looks at Mo. Then he has this realization as he looks at Engine. Engine puts his hand over Rudo's shoulder. Let's have a little talk, shall we? The two walk off. Of course, Engine says beforehand, Tommy, can you please patch her up? Now the two are sitting right beside each other, and it's just sort of awkward. All at once, Rudo says something, why are we sitting here silent? And Engine breaks it up, and he lets Rudo know, you already realized. You got emotional and forgot why we came here, right? And Rudo breaks down to Engine. He tells him that the whole time he's on the sphere, he just had to take it. No matter how bad his temper was, he was told to hold it in. Finally, whenever he got sent to the ground, he figured out if he tried to hold it in, he'd lose. But just now, Rudo realized he's gone back to the way he was, and he explains, the version of me before I learned patience. It just hit the people around me with all the darkness welling up inside me. After all this crap I've been through, I haven't really changed. Above or below, any growth I think I've been through, it's just an illusion. And literally out of nowhere, Engine changes the subject. As for me, I like hot ladies. Rudo looks over to him and he's just like, bro, what? And Engine's just going on about this. Okay, it may have been really random and off the wall, but Engine has a really good heart. Basically, what he's trying to tell Rudo here is realization is a part of growth. Engine then ensures that they got nowhere to go but up. We end this talk with Engine saying, let's go apologize together later. After Tommy gets done bandaging Amo, we get to hear her telling her sorry. Amo's still looking very down. Tommy takes off her mask and says, I'm happy to talk as much as you like, if you don't mind me. The next thing that Tommy says is, I love talking romance too. Suddenly Amo starts to look up. Amo then tells Tommy, you'd make a good mama. Amo just starts to open up. She talks about how her mama was a good mama too. And the next thing she says, Mama is the reason Amo met her first love. Buckle up, we're right here at the ending. Amo goes on to say that her mama also gave her a treasure, which is her boots. The next thing was very unexpected, and quite the surprise, really, and saw the angel that goes between the spear and the ground. So overall, there is two things I want to talk about. The first one is no one probably had it on their bucket list that Rudo would beat up a girl at all. And yeah, it was pretty ruthless and he kept going. At one point, I'm like, he kind of went Gone style there for a minute, just out of control. I'm sorry about that spoiler, by the way. But yeah, bro just went crazy with it. Next thing, there's something in him that can destroy the world. Now that makes me wonder, does this have to do with like his anger or maybe even his origins? Whoever his dad is, maybe that's what happens. It's whatever's going on with his dad as well. So a lot of mystery still in the series, and it sort of makes it where I'm just like, what is going to be the end game of this first season? Where are we going to end off? And I just know it's going to be crazy. Overall, this was a awesome episode. I loved it a lot, and if I had to rate it, I'm going to say it's a really strong 9.2. A lot of emotion in it as well. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on Gachiakuta episode 12. Hope you guys stay safe, and until next time, peace out.